the boy placed a marble on the floor. To his surprise, it began rolling on its own. His father started to suspect the house was tilted, but that made no sense, he had just bought the place a few days earlier. So Chris called the neighbors together. He asked them to check whether the doors and windows still closed properly, and to see if the building might be leaning, but no one took it seriously. They brushed it off and didn't really look. What they didn't know was that a crack had already begun forming in the ground around the building. The people inside had no idea that danger was about to strike. Early one morning, a man living in Unit 401 was on the rooftop, joking around with an old man from the building across the street. Suddenly, a loud boom rang out, and the ground beneath them shook violently. The earth split open. Walls began to collapse. Inside his apartment, Chris thought his eyes were playing tricks on him. He quickly grabbed a painting on the wall, but the shaking only grew worse. Cracks spread across the windows. The building began to sink. The man shouted for the old man to call the police, but the old man was frozen, completely stunned by what he was seeing. Then the power lines collapsed. The entire building dropped rapidly, finally getting stuck in a narrower section below. When the man managed to sit up again, he found himself at the bottom of a pit hundreds of meters deep. Suddenly, a car fell onto the rooftop. It was about to crush him. He quickly lifted both legs and braced himself, barely managing to kick the car away. But the building started falling again. This time, the car slid off the roof, crashed through a balcony, and plunged straight into Chris's apartment. The person inside the car banged on the window, begging for help. Chris looked closer. It was a coworker who had been over for dinner the night before. He rushed over and yanked on the car door, trying to save him, but the handle snapped right off in his hand. And at that exact moment, the car began sliding backward again.